So I just recently got a question from a woman who says, my husband says it's my fault he gets violent. He says, when I'm disrespectful, he gets triggered and becomes abusive. So she wondered, am I at fault for his rages and abuse? The answer is no. That's not to excuse your disrespect. But first, you must gain clarity. Your husband's rage and physical abuse is not uncontrollable. He stops himself at some point, right? There's a line he does not cross. Whether he doesn't leave physical marks on your body or you don't end up with an injury that would invite questions, he controls and limits himself to certain levels of physical abuse, those that he tells himself are acceptable or justifiable. He is totally in control. Let me put it another way. I'm sure he's expected disrespect from other people in his life, maybe his employer, a rude driver, your neighbor, your children, a friend, even an enemy. Does he lose control then and get physical? I bet not. Why not? Because he has control. The truth is, people sin against us all the time in many ways, and sometimes we do get provoked and angry. However, that doesn't mean it's okay to hit them. In fact, isn't that what we teach our children not to do when someone takes their toy or makes them mad? We tell them, we don't hit people when we're mad, period. I mean, what do you imagine a police officer would say if your husband used that as his excuse when he punches someone at the mall who disrespected him? They triggered me. It's their fault. Your husband believes a lie. He believes he's entitled to hit you when he's mad. And you've chosen not to initiate legal consequences that would protect you from this kind of abusive behavior. Your husband tells you that it's his God-given right to be respected. But does he also believe that it's your God-given right to feel safe and loved and cherished in your marriage? Therefore, when he fails to love and cherish you, and you feel hurt or angry, would it be okay with him if you hit him? Of course not. This is the craziness of an abuser's mindset. I want you to be crystal clear on something. You will fail your spouse, and he will fail you. And sometimes these failures are big, but often they occur in many little ways throughout a marriage. When working with couples, I often hear, well, he doesn't love me like I want him to, or she doesn't respect me like I want her to. And the truth is, no spouse can always give us what we want, even if what we want is good and even godly. Hurt and disappointment occur in every marriage. But is hitting someone or swearing at them or abusing them an appropriate response to our own disappointment and anger when our spouse or anyone else fails to give us what we want? Jesus says, no, never. The Bible labels that kind of behavior as sin, and it's never justified. The truth is, no one gets everything he or she wants all of the time, and part of growing up and maturing is learning how to handle yourselves emotionally in a godly, mature way when you're disappointed or angry or hurt, and when you're not getting what you want. Your husband's entitlement thinking has deceived him into believing that since he's entitled to be respected, he's also entitled to hit you when you're not complying with what he wants. But that's not true. How do other men handle being disrespected by their wives? Well, they might pray for their wife. They might have a heart-to-heart conversation with their wife. They might get counseling as a couple. A much healthier response to a husband's disappointment or hurt, if his wife doesn't respect him, is for him to say, honey, that hurts me when you talk to me that way. Stop it. Or even when you talk to me that way, I can't have a conversation with you. I'm ending our conversation right now until you can be more respectful. And what does your husband actually mean by disrespect? Does it mean that you can't have your opinion or differ from his without him feeling disrespected? Does it mean you have no voice or no choice in your marriage? Does it mean you have to agree with everything he thinks because not to agree will feel disrespectful to him? It's important for you to realize that seemingly lesser violent incidents like pushing or shoving or hitting often escalate in intensity and frequency over time to more dangerous levels for you. And I'm concerned for your long-term safety, as well as what it says to your children, who sees their father justify and excuse his treatment of their mother by hitting you and then blaming you. Over time, that pattern can lead your children to doing the same thing, blaming you and acting abusively toward you when they feel frustrated or angry with you. They also may very well end up blaming you for ruining the family when you've had enough of his abuse and you want to separate or end the marriage. Your husband may never change his thinking, but in order for you to be safe, you must. His behavior is abusive, and you are not responsible for his response. You're responsible for you, and if you're being provocative or disrespectful, please understand that that harms the marriage, but it does not cause his abuse. That's his own inability to handle his own emotions and his entitlement mindset at work. If abuse happens again, please call the police. That way your husband might have the opportunity to learn that his response is not just ungodly, it's illegal, and there are consequences. Take care, and God bless.